Good to go.
Good. Tim Hughes here, CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, I've got Gaetano, and we're going to talk about growth marketing.
Let's do it. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about, you're going to basically reveal some secrets about it because you've been good at it and you're good at it. Before we start, where can people get hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to Twitter and find me there at Gaetano_NYC. Just hit me up there. I tweet about life, growth marketing, scaling a SaaS business, all that sort of fun stuff.
And just because there may be some people where English isn't their first language, your name is Gaetano, Gaetano.
Yeah, Gaetano.
D-I and then N-A-R-D-I.
Yeah, so Gaetano DiNardi.
Perfect. I couldn't have pronounced it better myself.
These Italian names, man, all the vowels.
And you're a secret guitarist, aren't you?
And so are you. That's right. We have that in common.
You are. No.
Well, yeah, I love playing the guitar. I play pretty much every day. It's my favorite thing to do after a long day of working and my brain is feeling fried. I just plug in, I block out the rest of the world and I just jam. I pull up like random jam tracks on YouTube and I just jam to those, or, I work on my own production, stuff like that. But I love being a musician. It's great.
But back to business of growth marketing.
Yeah.
Give people a background about how you got where you are today, because everyone's always interested in whether you just got off the bus and just bought a ticket, so.
Yeah, man. So 2021 will mark 10 years of me being in marketing professionally. I was doing marketing kind of unprofessionally before that. I basically fell ass backwards into SEO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I fell ass backwards into it. Oh, yeah, by accident.
How did you fall ass backwards into SEO?
So I was blogging a lot about my perilous journey as a music producer grinding in New York City. So I would write about like, hey, I just got a label meeting with Atlantic Records and nothing happened after that. They ghosted me, those bastards. Because, the music industry is one of these very cryptic things that not a lot of people know the inner workings of how it all happens and how it works. So I was exposing a lot of that, and people were finding my articles. They would search for things like how to get a meeting with a record label and finding my shit. XYZ music company reviews, because I was doing a lot of reviews on music publication companies and stuff like that. And long story short, I realized that I was getting all these comments and I wasn't really promoting my stuff on social at the time, like too hard. I wasn't like doing any ads or anything. And the comments were coming in by the hundreds. And I'm like, how are people finding my stuff? And then I realized, oh my God, they're searching in Google for it and they're finding me. Because I started searching around Google for the things I was writing about and I was finding myself. I was like, oh my God, this is SEO. So then I started like really getting like nerding out, because I love this concept of not having to promote my shit and people finding me. I love that, because no one likes to be, hey, check me out, read my article, read my blog, sign up for this. Right? It sucks doing that. But anyway, so I got basically fascinated and obsessed with SEO from that point on. I knew it was what I really wanted to do with my career. I loved everything about it. I hit up this guy, Michael King, who is one of the best, if not the best SEO expert in the world. He was in New York, and I hit him up on LinkedIn. Like, this was 2010. And I said, hey, man, you're the guy I want to work for. I want to work for you. I study your stuff, because I started, taking online courses, watching tutorials, and I kept seeing him. I'm like, oh my God, he's in New York. I'm in New York. This is meant to be. And he has a musician background. So the stars aligned. He was just starting up a new agency. I was the second employee hired at his company. I was at that agency for about 2 years. By the time I left, the agency was like 20 full-time people. I was a top performer. I knew I was really good. And I knew my stock value had increased tremendously. So I, started putting some feelers out there. Eventually Pipedrive, a sales CRM software company, they bid on me, and we worked it out. So I led the SEO team there for about a year and change. And then from there, I was the head of marketing at Sales Hacker. Took that business from where it was to getting acquired by Outreach.
They got acquired,
Yeah. And then I didn't really want to join Outreach, because I just wanted to get into a different industry. I had been producing sales content for so long. And I knew so much about sales, even though I'm a marketer. So that helped me a lot in my career. Just learning about sales makes you really sharp as a marketer. And fast forward to today, I'm leading all of the growth marketing at Nextiva. We're a cloud communications company based out of Arizona. But of course, I lead the team here from my apartment in beautiful Miami, Florida. So life's good, man. I have nothing more to say other than that.
And so, I mean, Nextiva for you has been like one hell of a ride, because you were kind of like pottering along, and then COVID happens, and then everybody needs to work from home, and everybody needs to buy kit to basically allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you said to me, you've seen, was it search demand go up by 300%?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's some search terms that have skyrocketed by 400% in demand. We're talking about things like remote phone systems, remote office phone systems, also things like audio conferencing, which we provide. That has been through the roof. Everyone needs audio conferencing now. And so the interesting thing that's happening about this industry of cloud communication is you used to just look for one thing. You used to just look for like a cloud phone system, or maybe an internet faxing solution, or how to do business text messaging from the cloud, so I don't have to give up my personal phone number as a business owner. But now all that has kind of converged into one system that does it all. So that's what we offer. Of course, all of our competitors offer that now. It used to just be one thing. Now it's kind of this all-in-one cloud-based communication solution. Plugs and plays with various, systems out there like Salesforce and all these CRMs and stuff like that. Everybody wants their data connected. And, that's the future of where it's going. And it's fun. It's exciting. And, I hate to capitalize off of a terrible situation, but it's just the reality. COVID has really, made business booming. And it's not about how fast can you grow. It's actually who's going to grow the fastest out of all the competition out there, because there is a lot of money up for grabs right now. And so it's an arms race, and that's the world that I'm in.
Yeah. But even before COVID, you basically came into this role, and all of a sudden, I think there was a certain amount of a blank sheet of paper, but the first thing you did was go for the SEO, because that's what you're good at.
Yeah.
So you basically primed them to take advantage of all those additional hits when the world changed, when the pandemic hit us.
Exactly. So the way you summarized it is actually quite beautiful. You're making me look like a genius, but all I did was
You're a genius.
I'm a genius, sure. Basically I said, guys, look, we're a two-trick pony. We rank for two very important keywords, but there's a ton of other demand out there that none of the providers are really capitalizing on. So we worked really hard to actually become number one for like all these super important research-based terms, and also variations of like product-based terms. So for example, you might have cloud phone system, but then you have virtual phone system.
Yeah.
And Google doesn't recognize them as the same thing, but actually they are. So we created content that targets, those different keyword segments that Google hasn't recognized as the same thing yet. And therefore, we were prepared because we were already ranking highly for all these important terms. And then when demand increased suddenly, it's like, oh, wow. Now the biggest problem we have is actually too many leads. Like now we need to figure out, oh, wow, we weren't ready for this from a sales capacity standpoint. Lead routing and inbound lead management becomes more tricky. We're trying to figure out ways to, always route the best leads to the best closers. So that's been an interesting process and a learning process for me. But in short, we were prepared. The demand came, and now I look like a genius. What can I say?
So what's the secret? What is it that if someone is watching this and they, my video's gone. I'm back again. So if someone's watching this and they want to get into basic SEO, what is it that you need to do?
Yeah, you actually need to listen to sales calls, and you need to understand customers really well, because you actually need to, SEO now is the most important part about it is understanding the intent of what someone wants when they search for something. Right. And then when they land on that content experience, you need to be able to give them the information that they want in the most simple and easiest way to digest possible, most clear and concise, but also in the order in which they want it, which matters a lot. So this is a thing that a lot of people don't think about. But for example, if you're in an industry where like the average contract value is maybe around $1,000, kind of low, like us, right? You know that it's a very price conscious shopper because, you know, you're talking 30, 40 bucks a seat. You know, sometimes line sizes are in the 20 to 40 range, whatever. So people are pretty price conscious, business owners, call center managers, etc. You know, price has to be highly positioned on the page. They want to know that price right away. So the argument has been, well, if you give them the price right away, they just look at price. They don't really look at anything else. And that just determines what their future will be. Not necessarily. I also know that through hot jar testing and listening to calls that it's not just only about price, like features and the use cases that the product can actually can provide and solve problems that are specific to their business is important. But just listening to sales calls and knowing what people want when they search for it is key. So really intent-based search marketing is the way I would think about it.
So it's about really getting into the head of the buyer and the customer, and you're doing that by, in effect, listening to the sales calls and going, right, that's a term we've not heard of before.
Exactly. Here's a great example of it, right? We listen to sales calls that like are specific to certain page types. So for example, like our cloud phone systems page, we'll listen to the calls that were generated specifically from that page. And then we look for patterns and trends regarding what they're saying about features. Like, for example, if call recording keeps coming up over and over again, yeah, you know, I really need call recording. Call recording is really important to us. We need call recording. We look at our page. Oh, shit. Call recording's like all the way hidden at the bottom here. You know, we got to bring that sucker up. That's what we do. And that's literally how we improve our rankings, because what people don't know is engagement is a huge factor now. So the longer a shopper stays on your content, the more they click through deeper into the site and they don't hit the back button and go into look at other search results. Yeah. The longer they stay on your site is tracked. So the higher the engagement is, the longer they stay on page, the more they scroll down, the more pages per session they have on your site, the better signal it is to Google that, okay, people are finding what they want and they're sticking around when they go to your site, and they compare that versus others and stuff like that. So that's how Google knows relevance.
Right. So there's a term that's used, which is bounce rate, which is where someone basically comes to your website and then leaves it.
Yeah.
And so what you're wanting is in effect, you've got to create content. So there's a lot of science here between not just about understanding the words that you're going to tune for, but also creating the content that people are going to consume once they're there.
That's right. Because in the past, it used to be about keyword stuffing.
Right.
You used to be able to get away with it. Like if this was 2010, you could have created a landing page that had cloud phone system this, cloud phone system that. Every phrase on the page would say cloud phone system, and you'd probably rank, especially if you built links that said cloud phone system over and over again. But now you can maybe only get away with saying it once or twice, but it's really about the rest of the content. And does that information actually serve the need of the searcher? I think Rand Fishkin put it really well. He said your goal with search marketing should be to satisfy searcher intent happiness. Right. So how happy did they get when they finally found for, which hopefully was your content over someone else's?
Yeah. Okay. So if you were what would you recommend people do?
Yeah, if I was starting from scratch, you know, I would keep it very simple. I would go to your sales team and I would say, hey, what do you think the most important search terms are, like in the industry? Like the kinds of shoppers you're talking to, what are the things that keep coming up over and over again? Just literally give sales like a questionnaire or a survey of some sort, or just go talk to like 10 different salespeople, compile all the answers that they give you. And then that's your marketing plan. That's the plan.
And I know that sounds really basic.
Yeah.
If you're starting from scratch, having that basic plan is better than having no plan at all, isn't it?
Yeah, like that could be the plan. A lot. See what a lot of marketers where they go wrong is they say, "Oh, I need some fancy tool. Like I need a keyword research tool, and I got to go look at what our competitors are ranking for, and I got to go look at what our competitors are producing content on." Yeah, that's all great, and keyword data is important. Don't get me wrong. Like you should understand how difficult a given keyword is to rank for, what the search volumes are, what the commercial intent of that keyword is, according to the cost per click and stuff like that. But really the best source is listening to sales calls, talking to sales teams, talking to customers too. If you can actually get on the phone with like 4 or 5 different customers and just talk to them about like, do you remember your journey in deciding that you needed a cloud phone system or you needed to switch from one provider to another? How did you go about, searching and thinking about the research process? That's going to give you a ton of insight as well. I would say, listen to calls, go talk to customers, talk to sales. From there, I think you're going to be golden.
So what else are you doing in terms of growth marketing apart from SEO that you fell into arse backwards?
Yeah. So apart from SEO, a big thing is paid ads. So SEO is, there's really 3. If you want, I would say a really powerful inbound marketing strategy. The best thing to do is think about how to occupy as much space in the as much real estate space in the search results as possible.
Right.
So you should think about it from 3 ways: your organic listing, your paid ad listing, which sits right on top of the organic, hopefully if you're highly ranking. And then the third thing is an affiliate partner who can also occupy real estate in the organic.
Is it like a reseller or a partner?
A reseller, a channel partner, an aggregator website that has, top 20 tools you need to look for marketing automation in 2020.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're a marketing automation provider or a software, ideally you'd have like your organic listing ranking highly, your ad sitting like right on top of that, and then an affiliate partner near, on top, or above or below your listings, so that any one of those clicks can point business in your direction. So you want to actually try and amplify as much reach as possible by occupying these listings, because we know search is competitive. It's highly research based, right? And that goes into the next part of the conversation, that you shouldn't really start doing SEO and paid ads until your brand stuff is like really on point. So like your reviews are crucial. You need to get your reviews up. All your brand content on like G2, Software Advice, Capterra, Gartner, Trust Radius, anywhere someone could go that's third party to learn about your service, your brand, and your offerings, that needs to be like in pristine condition.
And those rank highly in search anyway. Things like G2, I quite often see a ranking.
Oh yeah, they're all so all the ranking is actually happening with those sites. So a lot of sites, they suck at SEO. So they it's hard for them to rank. So they just rely on these other sites to rank for them. And then, they pay those sites, and then those sites send referral, essentially affiliate traffic to those landing pages from those vendors.
Right.
So it's a middleman strategy in many ways. And the vendors are really smart. They figured out how to do better SEO. The aggregators and the review sites have figured out how to do better SEO than the actual vendor sites. And so they've made a very lucrative business model out of this. And now you factor in reviews and intent data that a lot of them are selling you now, and all these research reports. Gartner puts out a magic of the best marketing automation SaaS, and it's big money for these companies. So it's all part of the game, and you got to play it.
So you need to get yourself on all those sites even before you start doing anything like clever with SEO. So there's a number of there's a journey that you need to go on in effect.
That's right. Because if you're doing really good SEO and you're not on those sites, they're going to go on those sites and they're going to look for you, and they're not going to see you there. So you're not going to get the most value out of your SEO grind or your paid ads grind. It's even more important for ads, because if you're dumping money into expensive keywords, that's the other thing too. Like, the industry of cloud communication is very expensive. The keywords are highly competitive. We're talking $100 a click pretty much across the board and up. So you've just got to give yourself the best chance at maximizing your investment. And the only way you're going to do that is to be highly regarded, well represented across all these digital sites, even forums. Like people are going into Quora, Spiceworks, Reddit, and talking about like, oh, technical stuff. Like, oh, what is the best? What kind of like internet speed do I need to have good VoIP connection? Would this work with this provider or that provider? Blah, blah, blah. And there's like, IT nerds going back and forth, and there's channel partners in there and resellers. So you can see how it just has this radiation effect, and you've got to be on top of it from all angles. Otherwise, you're going to be in hot water, I think.
I mean, I was amazed the other day. I had someone that they're now an opportunity. And I said, so how did you find me? They said, oh, you left a book review on Amazon.
Wow.
So it's like, really? So I mean, being an author, whenever I read a book, I always leave a review. It's just something that I decided to do. Nice. And I looked the other day on Goodreads. I've done over 120 reviews, but I just kind of did it because I thought it was kind of a bit fun. And then this person says, "Oh yeah, you reviewed this book." And I thought, maybe there's something in this. In terms of visibility of, not necessarily visibility of a company, but visibility of a person.
It's brilliant. At Sales Hacker, one thing we used to do to attract eyeballs, similar to your book review strategy, was like when Salesforce would put out like the state of sales report, Max and I would do a live video talking about the report.
Right.
And we just go live stream it and just call out data points and riff on those.
That's
we gain tons of genius. Because guess what's going to happen? Salesforce is going to say, oh shit, 2 really influential people are talking about our report that just came out. There's massive comment threads about this and that from all these potential people who could buy Salesforce products. We need to talk to these guys and figure out a way to work with them because they're really good at capturing engagement and attention. Attention is digital currency.
Yeah.
This. So this is in all your books and everything, and you practice what you preach on it, so what's up. But that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Yeah,
exactly. So companies have figured out that attention is the most important thing. Everyone's fighting for attention, and one of the best ways to do that is to use influential people. I hate to use the word influencers, but call it what it is. And third parties. So that's just the reality of how digital branding works.
So is there, in terms of growth marketing, so we've got with SEO, we've talked about a number of areas. Is there anything else that companies need to be looking at?
Man, I would say the most important thing is like, this is what separates like doing real growth marketing and real demand generation from just say being a functionalized marketing specialist in one channel. The difference is that you need to know how all the channels work together and play together, but more importantly, the back end metrics. So in terms of leads, like lead quality is by far the most important thing in growth marketing.
Right.
The old school way was just volume of leads. So what's our lead volumes? But now it's not just about that. It's about the quality of the leads. So knowing the sources that generate the stickiest customer types.
Right.
So how long do these customers stick around? How much do they end up paying ultimately? To acquire them. So doing all that analysis is really important. But then looking at things like where do we actually generate the leads that have larger revenue opportunities? So for example, some ad groups, they call it ad groups, right? Some ad groups tend to generate smaller line size opportunities. They may close faster, but they're smaller, but they're higher chance of churn because things, the more small customers you have, the more chances that there are of things going wrong, things coming up, them leaving negative reviews, clogging up your support queues, right? Yeah. So just actually knowing it may be cheaper to acquire these customers, but they create more problems for the business.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these customers are very hard to acquire, but once you get them, it's beautiful.
You've got them for life. Yeah.
You've got them for a long time. Exactly. So real demand gen actually starts really working super closely with sales, like business intelligence teams, operations, finance, and learning about like payback periods.
Right.
How long do these customers stick around? What are the common reasons why they might churn? What could we do from a marketing side to help prevent some of this?
Yeah.
How do we actually go at market? Then find out, oh man, there's really good customers coming from, you know, this segment or whatever. How do you get more of them? How do you start positioning the brand in those places where those bigger fish might be researching, you know? So you may find out that it's like a completely different search term that you haven't thought of, or just whatever, right? So I think that's the main thing. It's looking at the back end metrics. Don't just look at even cost per acquisition or raw leads. Look at actual revenue. What ends up closing, right? How much of these? The other thing too is like, if there's a huge amount of leads that are getting proposals, but they're not closing, that's what you need to focus on. Like, right. So that's the difference, I think, between real demand gen, real growth marketing versus, hey, I just do SEO. All I'm trying to do is get rankings.
Yeah.
But you don't pay attention to really what happens on the back end of that. That's where I think it separates kind of
you could be buying, paying $100 an ad for leads that basically don't convert, or leads that basically just ultimately they either don't close or they're just crappy and they just churn.
Totally. Yeah. And dude, you know what else is nuts? Like you might figure out that there's like some major product gap. That happens too sometimes. Sure. Like you may be missing a critical integration. And then guess what? You go feed that back to your product team and say, hey guys, there's this really important tool that we don't integrate with natively that we need to figure out. Because if we do that, we're going to unlock a ton of business. And then they go and work on that and boom, we've got it, and then, hey, you can reach back out to those prospects that didn't close and say, hey guys, we finally have that thing you wanted. Can we resume the conversation? So that I think is the difference.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's so intricate and there's so many moving parts. It's such a fascinating area. And I guess, in terms of the future, I mean, it must be changing all the time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like sometimes you don't change any content, you don't do anything, and Google will reward you. A major algorithm update will get deployed, and suddenly your search traffic will just go like this. That's happened to me a lot. The opposite has also happened. Sometimes search results are gone. You drop out of the listings for no apparent reason. A week later, it's back. That 1 week that it's gone, there's mass chaos and panic.
Yeah, putting your hair out, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's me saying, guys, I have a lot of experience with this. There's no need to panic right now. They're just testing stuff. Trust me, it's gonna come back. And what do you know? It comes back. I've actually never had a situation where I've dropped out of the listings for good because of doing something bad or doing something wrong. But it's just having that that experience, that composure. Even like when sales, sometimes you have to cut bad lead sources.
Right.
After, I'll give you a good example. We used to do a lot of Facebook lead gen.
Right.
And if you were a marketer that just looked at the front end metrics like cost per acquisition and lead volume, you would say, wow, cost per acquisition is pretty low. Lead volume's high. Sales is busy. That's great. They're busy. But it's not turning into anything.
Right.
Very, very low close rates, right? So are you a company that wants to create this illusion that sales is busy and that good things are happening because sales is active? Or do you want to be more realistic and honest with yourself and say, look, if sales has a lot of extra time on their hands because marketing is really only focusing on good lead quality, and therefore that opens up sales capacity a lot, and now we're overstaffed, well, figure it out. Are they going to spend more time prospecting? Can you turn some of those into outbound prospectors? Yes, leads are not just always supposed to show up on your doorstep in a nice ribbon basket ready for you to close. Sorry. So you got to figure out what to do there. And I think that's a real challenge for companies, because a lot of companies just don't want to face the truth. They don't want to accept reality. So that's my take on it.
So where do you think where do you think we'll be in 5 years' time?
Oh, in 5 years' time, I think so much will be different. I think a number of things are going to change. The MQL will officially it will be gone.
Right.
Like it's already heading in that direction, but a lot of companies and sales teams, they try to use the MQL as a way to predict forecasting and pipeline. I think that's going to just die.
Yeah.
I think the concept of like paid ads to an ebook download to an SDR sequence to a email automated nurture, that's all going to be done. It's just not going to be effective anymore.
Yeah.
I think even the old school webinar style, like this is the new school way, where just two guys just get on a crowdcast and just start chopping it up, get right into it right away. There's no long there's no slide deck with all these company and slides, and 20-30 minutes in, there's still no content. That's going to be done.
They drive me nuts. I just drop off.
So annoying.
I mean, it's just so annoying, because it's like it becomes a pitch.
Right. So that's going to be done.
People aren't there for a pitch. I mean, I've actually just come off a webinar that I've just been doing for some people in Denmark.
Okay.
And no slides. No pitching. This is about sharing information. And if people want to look me up on LinkedIn, then they can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And what you just said is actually the whole point of where this is going in the future. So there's no substitute for doing really good demand gen, really good growth marketing. And that is dominating the attention span of a niche and creating as much educational and helpful, useful content that's so good that you don't need, like, let's say you have a long sales cycle, right? 6 months.
Yeah.
You don't need a lead that's not ready to buy yet because they're still in research mode. You don't need them to talk to sales just so sales can mark it up and say, hey, we got them early. It's an opportunity. Not yet. Not really. It's a contact right now. It's not really even a lead. It's just, hey, it's very early. Companies are going to get away from the idea that you have to catch them so early and market and pipeline it and forecast it. And they're just going to start accepting that, hey, this buyer is going to raise their hand and fill out that demo form, request to talk to sales when they're damn good and ready. And there's no special marketing tricks that you can do to change that or influence, game the system or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it.
If we take the Gartner model that people are 57% of the way through the buying process before they contact sales, it's a reality. We all have mobile phones and we all go online and we research stuff, and we hate salespeople, and we do what we can to avoid them, and that's the reality of the way people buy. That's regardless of what cold calling sales gurus say. It's the way it is.
Yeah, I would argue it's even more than what Gartner says. I would argue it's like 80%.
That's what I but I'm biased.
Yeah. But no, you're totally right. They do hate talking to sales. They do want a more convenient way to buy. They do want live chat or chat bots. They much would rather just get a quick answer, a quick question answered than having to go through this long, annoying process of talking to sales just to get one question answered. And then what's going to happen after that. They're going to be chasing you down. Exactly. So the role of sales is going to change as well. And that is, you need to be, if you're not already like a solution-based consultative seller, I think you're going to be in real trouble. I think you're going to be in real trouble if you're the kind of salesperson that says, hey, I had a really early conversation with a buyer who might be ready to buy in like 6 to 8 months. Hey, marketing, what I need you to do now is nurture this person for me. I need you to send them nurture automated emails from marketing@mycompany.com so that they can stay top of mind. That's actually going to be your responsibility, Mr. or Mrs. Salesperson. You are going to be responsible for creating a good connection. Everyone says like it's no more B2B, it's human to human. Like that, when we talk about human to human, that's where you come in.
Build relationships on LinkedIn. Just do it.
That's right. Like it's your responsibility to occasionally hit them up and give them useful things. Become homies with them somehow. You've got to figure that out, because there's no marketing email trick that's going to get them to buy prematurely or whatever, right? Like it's your responsibility. And I think that's where we're going in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen like the same kind of patterns and trends that I'm seeing, but this is the way I see it going.
Oh, we see, buyers are looking for insight. They're looking to be educated. If you're spending $100,000 on an IT system, you will know the name of the salesperson. So there will be some form of relationship. And let's not forget, someone said to me today, yeah, but relationships take a long time. Yeah, but if I connect to you on LinkedIn and create a conversation and my LinkedIn profile looks good, we have a relationship within minutes. It's not something that I haven't got to take you out for beer 5 times and then we have a relationship, because we're used to using social. Relationships actually could be built within seconds. Mm-hmm. But people are looking for content. And what we've done is that we've built this hierarchy of content, which depends on your engagement. And so it starts off basically with advertising, which is a form of getting people's attention. But ultimately, if you're on social, the thing that gets to people's the most attention is humanized content. So if you post, because you're actually really good at this on LinkedIn, whether you're doing it on purpose or not, I don't know. But a video of you playing a guitar will get far more engagement and connection than you basically putting up something, say, hey, have we got a phone system for you?
1000%. A video of me playing my guitar goes huge. A link to something we wrote on our company blog does nothing.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of various variations in between, because my audience know, like, and love me. Your audience know, like, and love you. Mm-hmm. So if I take you playing the guitar and put it out through my audience, it will get no engagement, because they'll go, what's this about? There's some bloke playing a guitar. Right. I don't know who he is, but I know who Tim Hughes is. So there's all, you asked the question. So there's a whole load of things in between that in terms of what you can do with content and how you use it on social. And it doesn't mean that you put out everything about you. It doesn't mean that you just keep putting out videos about you playing guitar. And you need to mix it up, but you do know what's going to get the most engagement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a good way to kind of cap it all off is we talked about digital currency being attention.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny how it all trickles down, because attention and engagement is the goal of the social platforms itself. So if you understand that LinkedIn's number one goal is to keep people on the platform as long as possible, if you pander to that effect with your own content, it's just going to serve you even better. So it's a diabolical way of looking at it. But the reality is, if you post links to other sites, the engagement goes down, your reach and visibility goes down. Yeah. Especially if you put things from competing tech platforms like Facebook and YouTube. They don't want that in there. It's Microsoft. So don't do that, and your engagement will stay high. If you create content that is primarily designed to create and spark a lot of discussion and comments on your thread, like what's better, this or that. That's why the people figured that out. They tried to abuse it with, hey, what's better, cold calling or social selling? And it erupts. I wouldn't recommend that. But it's something that you can do, because one of the things that you can do is you basically in effect create a punch up, and what happens is that then that goes through different people's networks. So you can take your message and you can put it through an opposing people's network. Absolutely. And that's why if you ask me if 1000%, if I was in sales, I would never cold call anyone. Never. Now, that's just me, though. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the way that I would prospect if it was me, and I know that it works because I do this, I create content and threads on LinkedIn that are relevant to the kinds of people I want to reach. And then all these second and third degree connections, like you said, the amplification effect of other networks seeing your stuff, they'll comment. I'll go and connect with those people. And
yes,
that's
the trick is
right.
It's not about the mistake that people make is they think it's about posting. So what you'll get is a VP posting, and then all the people that will like it are their subordinates. And most people on LinkedIn have a crap network. Their network is past colleagues and consultants, which doesn't buy you anything.
Zero.
You have to get to, in effect, take your territory and put it online. So the people that you want to sell to, you're connected to. So that can be a connection. It can, or what you're trying to do is build a relationship and have a conversation. But if what you're doing is that if you post something, what you then have is a method behind that in the way that you go through the different people that are liking or making a comment on that. So I'm actually wondering if So I mentioned this on so there's a slide that I'm not going to share, but so one of my team basically posted a picture of him and his son on the beach, and took him 10 minutes to take the photos, sit down, put it up. He got 165 likes, 37 comments, and 18,292 views. So if you think, so the average person on LinkedIn is 903 connections. So that's take 165 and multiply it by 903. That's kind of like the audience that you could have had. Off that, he's had 124 leads, 28 new outbound connections, 13 new inbound connections, 6 video calls, one with the CEO, one with the COO, two MDs, and 2 business development directors. He's had 2 pitches and put out 1 proposal, and he's had 20,000 views on his LinkedIn profile. 10 minutes work.
10 minutes of work. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can't do that. Like, you couldn't get all that through cold calling or through ads or email.
No, because the cold calling is it's obviously 1-to-1, and that's it. What you put in is what you put out of it. But then with the 10 minutes on the beach, look at the result of that. The photo, boom, amazing.
It's been great talking to you.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I need to update I need to start updating my accent. I'm too British. I'm obviously just too British.
You are quite the Englishman, and I think it also it gives you a nice charm. You have it fits you well. Like it's just great. It's great. I feel like you and we have a lot in common, despite being from the opposite sides of the world.
Right. Good
Shit, man.
Yeah. So it's been, I just love today because we've just gone and pretty riffed it, and and it's been, and I mean, so much, and I'm so pleased that you shared it with everybody. I really thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been great to just riff on all this stuff. Obviously, you and I, we love it. We probably could do this for hours if we had to.
I could go on.
Yeah. So
I had Michael Brenner on here the other day, and I said I had to call an end to it at 50 minutes because I said no one will watch 50 minutes, Michael. So I said we need to stop but he said, well, we'll just go on for the rest of the day. I said no one will watch it.
Yeah. Right. So that's the case here. I feel like you and I could easily talk for another hour or 2, but it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you again for inviting me, thinking about me. And I am sure that.
And Gaetano's Twitter is in the chat.
Yeah. Hit me up on Twitter. That's the fastest way to just get in touch. So I hope everybody that listened to the chat found it valuable. I'm sure they will. And, we'll have to do this again sometime. Thank you, Tim.
Cool. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Peace out.